379-2911. And our webpage
is www.atheist-community.org.
Okay, and being Easter, we got an interesting article here I'd like to bring up to the point. This is actually an excellent book. It's the book Your Church Doesn't Want You to Read. It's written by Tim Leadham, and I just pointing to it as reference. I'm not trying to sell the book or anything else. Points out an interesting article here about the world's 16 crucified saviors. These are different people that have come and gone in the past that have laid the claim to being a son of God, and I just really want to point out some of the similarities that the Christians have picked up here. I'll just go through the highlights. I'm not going to read the whole thing here. It is claimed by the disciples of Jesus Christ that he was of supernatural and divine origin, that he was a human being for a mother, that he had a human being for a mother and a God for a father, and that although he was woman conceived, he was a deity begotten and molded in human form, but comprehending in the essence of full measure of infinite Godhead, thus making him half human, half divine. Let me go on through here though and bring it. It is claimed that he is full and perfect God and a perfect man, and while he was God, he was also the Son of God, and he was such that he was sent down by his Father to save a fallen, guilty world, and that thus his mission pertained to the whole human race. And he inspired seers has made to declare the ultimate. Every nation, tongue, kindred, and people under the heaven will acknowledge allegiance to his government and concede his right to reign the world. That every knee must bow down and every tongue confess that Jesus is Lord and the glory to God. But we do not find that this prophecy has ever been filled and is likely to ever be fulfilled. We do not observe that this claim to infinite deity of Jesus Christ has been or is likely to be universally conceded. On the contrary, it is found to be that a portion and a large portion of the people, even those nations which we called Christians, this claim has been steadily, unswervingly controverted through the whole line of history, stretching through nearly 2,000 years. Okay, I'm hearing voices here.
Yeah, I've got extra headphones plugged in.
The whole point is, I want to make here is that their claim to being is not unique. For researches into Oriental history reveal a remarkable fact that the stories of incarnate gods answering to and resembling the miraculous character of Jesus Christ have been prevalent in most, if not all, principal religions, heathen nations of antiquity, and that the accounts and narrations of some of these deific incarnations bear such a striking resemblance to the Christian Savior, not only in their general features, but in some cases their most minute details, from the legend of Immaculate Conception to the crucifixion and subsequent ascension into heaven. I'm sorry, folks. It's early morning here. But the whole point is, we've got a list here of 20 others, and we'll just go quickly over the list here. But the point I want to make, all 20 of these claim to be Son of God according to history and tradition, and descended from heaven, and have taken upon themselves the form of men, clothing themselves in human flesh, and furnishing incontestable evidence of divine origin by various miracles and marvelous works. And so we have Krishna of Hindustan. Boy, I should have let somebody else read these words here.
Well, let me.
You feel free to.
I did it earlier today, yeah. So yeah.
Give me a break from reading there a little bit.
Krishna of
these
Hindustan.
Are 20 different that can be verified through his.
Through their various religions, anyway.
Right.
Krishna of Hindustan, Buddha Sakya of India, Salivahana of Bermuda, Zul, also Osiris or Horus of Egypt, Odin of the Scandinavians, Crete of Chaldea, Zoroaster and Mithra of Persia. I love that name.
Yes,
Zoroaster. If you're going to name a god anything, right, it has to start with a Z, right? Baal and Tot, the only begotten of God of Phoenicia, Indra of Tibet, Bali of Afghanistan, Jao of Nepal, Witoba of Bilingonese, Thammuz of Syria, Atius of Phrygia. Oh, it gets worse and worse.
Yes, it does.
I'll just go over the ones I can read. How about that? Zoar of Bonzes, Adad of Assyria, Al-Qadiz of Thebes, Bedru of Japan, Mikado of the Sintus, Thor, son of Odin of the Gauls, we know about those, Cadmus of Greece, Hill and Feta of Mandites, and the list goes on. Basically,
yeah, I said 20. There's actually a list of 35 here. I stand corrected here, but just a couple more highlights here. If you go all the way back, as far back as 1200 BC, we have records that and traditions that teach a heathen savior, Varishana, was immaculately conceived and born of a spotless virgin, that the author of or agent in the conception was the spirit of or a ghost, of course the Holy Ghost, that he was threatened in early infancy with the death by the ruling tyrant Kanisha, as I think I pronounce, that he had parents that had consequently had to flee from his homeland for safety, that all the young male children under 2 years of age were slain in the order issued by his ruler, similar to that of Herod in Judea. I'm just pointing out all the similarities of a story that was 1,200 years before Christ was born. Supposedly the person that was Christ that was born. So the whole point is the Christians do not have a unique story when it comes to the Easter story and the resurrection. One last paragraph. And then now we ask all the Christians out there, what does all this mean? How are you going to sustain declaration that Jesus Christ was the only Son of God and sent of God in the view of these historic facts? Where are the superior credentials of his claim? How will you prove the miraculous proportions of his history to be real and the others false? We boldly say it cannot be done. Please answer these questions or relinquish your doctrine to the divinity of Jesus Christ. Excellent book. I just got that recently, so I hadn't had a chance to read the whole thing, but I will be definitely be reading more of that. Well, part of the reason we have the guests on here is to let you folks meet other members of our group, to let you know who the Atheist Community of Austin really is. Arlo is one of our newer members. Yeah, it's been about a year though, hasn't it? Yeah. The group's been in existence over 2 years, and he's contributes the sound on the show, and he also does the artwork too. He's an artist,
yes,
and done some excellent work. I guess you actually you're actually a professional artist.
Well, I don't know. I have my own business.
There you go.
I reproduce and sell my artwork at markets and things.
Yes.
I do a lot of custom work.
So it looks like we do have a caller here. This is April 12th. We will take your questions live on the air. Let's see who we got here. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. Goodbye, caller. I guess they were having an argument in the background. What question they were going to ask us? But I thought you had some quotes here or something that you brought in that you'd like to share. You can share anything you want with the show.
Okay. Yeah, I'll bring up a quote at the spur of the moment.
Oh, okay. If it feels appropriate.
I didn't even know I was going to be on the air today.
Yes.
I'm just here to hang out.
Okay. Let's try the caller again. Good morning, caller. Caller? Goodbye, caller.
I don't think those were ready.
I don't know if they could hear me or not.
Well, I don't think they were ready anyway.
Yes. Good morning, Austin. This is April 12th. We are the Atheist Community of Austin. This is our live show, the Atheist Experience. If you're out there and you have any questions or comments, we will try the telephone one more time here. Good morning, caller. Can you hear me, caller?
Caller, hello. Nope, nothing.
Goodbye, caller. What? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let her do.
Okay, no problem.
You said you sell your artwork. I was going to ask you, is there any particular place that you sell it in Austin that people could go look at it?
I sell at the Renaissance Market, or it's better known as 23rd Street Market. It's on Guadalupe, 23rd Street. It's outdoors.
On weekends?
Usually, just whenever the weather's nice. I won't be out there for a couple of
I'll
weeks.
go out there. I'll look at that. Yeah.
Yes. Another thing I was wanting to bring up at today's show was the Frontline Special. Did you happen to catch it? From Jesus to Christ. It was on Monday and Tuesday. I know Joe said he only got to see a few minutes. Did you see it?
Catch that again.
Excellent show. It was on Monday and Tuesday this week from Frontline. It was 4 hours. It was 2 hours each night, so it's 4 hours long. About the history of Jesus, and it just blew me away. We had one of the experts there was a UT professor, which really added a little Austin connection to it. We had Harvard professors, we had professors from Duke, so we had all these well-educated people coming on the show and admitting that they can't prove the year that he was born, they can't prove the year that he died, they can't prove where he was born, but they still say he's a real person. And they come up with all these and they'll list contradiction after contradiction after contradiction, and sit there and try to explain with excuses on why there is contradictions. They were saying that the four Gospels were written at generations apart from each other. So the writing style and everything else was presented for that particular generation. He was saying Mark was one of the first ones. Oh boy, we got all kinds of callers this morning here. I just looked down and saw the lights there. Yes, it's April 12th. Please do call in and we'll talk about anything you like. We have a caller on line 1. Kristen?
Hello?
Oh, whoa.
Hello?
Good morning.
Can you hear us?
Hello?
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 Can you hear us?
Hello?
Hello? Hank, let me put you on hold.
Hey, what is this exactly about?
Kellen, it sounds like the callers aren't hearing us. I put the caller on line 1 back on hold. And let me try line 2.
Can you tell Kellen?
Good morning, caller.
Don't we all have something to believe in?
Good morning, caller.
Don't we all have something to believe in, or what?
Is that your question?
That's my question.
Can you hear us?
Very, yeah.
Can you turn your TV down? Can you turn your TV down?
It's down.
Okay.
Shut that door, would you please?
Yeah.
And, why do we have to have something to believe in? First off, you have to define what you consider the meaning of the word believe. The fact that we don't profess any belief on a supernatural being doesn't put us at any disadvantage. I think the disadvantage is it's your...
Well, that's like saying that the history books, all the history books are, Columbus didn't discover America, sure, the stuff, you gotta have something to believe in. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Well, it's a little bit outlandish, and extraordinary claims require extraordinary proofs, and there isn't a drop of proof for that, so it loses.
I think you're full of shit.
Good Christian.
Yes. We will take any viewer, any caller, any questions or whatever. But this is Sunday morning, and we don't. There's kids out there. We'd like to have some respect for the children that might be watching.
And Kellen can feel free to hang up on people who sound like they're going to talk like that. So don't bother.
Yes. Am I ready to try another call?
I don't think we're ready.
Are we ready to try another call?
You got anything to talk about? We got a sect here that had a little problem with the end of the world.
While I was talking about the show From Jesus to Christ, I'd love to hear a Christian's point of view of that show. I'll admit I was watching that with an atheist point of view, and so every contradiction that they brought up just stuck out in my mind. And I'd love to hear the Christian's point of view on how they look at those contradictions.
Why? I'd rather hear an atheist point of view, but that's a different contention there.
We're going to try another caller. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, guys.
Steve?
Yeah.
That's quite loud. Go ahead.
Hey, when I'm kind of watching you guys, it seems to me that what you're trying to do is disprove Christianity. And I don't know what the point of that really is, but it seems like that's what the topic revolves around.
Well, in a way, we're not trying to disprove Christianity. We're trying to show the fallacy in all religions, not just Christianity, but for the biggest part, the United States of America, the biggest majority religion at this present point in time would be a Christian point of view. So most of our arguments or discussion would involve around the Christian point of view. But
I don't know. I'm not trying to disprove Christianity per se. I think the wild claims of Christianity need disproving, but I don't think it's incumbent upon us to try to disprove any claims that can't be proven in the first place. I think it's important, though, to know that extraordinary claims like that require extraordinary evidence. Other than that, Christianity is a very large religion. I don't deny that at all. But
I'm sorry. I was getting ready.
Our guest.
I just want to say, I mean, we enjoy showing the point of the non-Christian point of view. It's not saying that.
No, I agree and I think it's important that you guys are doing this because I think all sides to be represented. And I know that a lot of Christians don't realize because they never explore any other religion. They think that their religion is the only religion. But it seems that what I'm wondering is what is the atheist position? I mean, what is the atheist just not any other religion, or is atheist a religion of its own?
I've heard that claim before. We don't consider it a religion.
I brought a good definition.
Here, okay.
Okay, this was written by Madeline O'Hara, but nevertheless it's still quite important to us. Atheism means simply the absence of theism, which is a belief in a supernatural god or gods. Atheism may be defined as the mental attitude which unreservedly accepts the supremacy of reason and aims at establishing a lifestyle and ethical outlook verifiable by experience and the scientific method, independent of all arbitrary assumptions of authority or creeds. And, it goes on a little bit more. I think that basically explains it. But,
what I'm wondering is my only problem with atheism is that when you don't attach any kind of and who knows? None of us know what happens to us when we die. But what I'm saying is when we don't attach any kind of consequences to our life, that you can say, and regardless of what your religion is, that if I am a good person, it's it's going to make a difference after I die. Isn't that a good thing to believe?
I think it's even better that if any rewards or consequences that you deserve would you get now while you're there still here. Any reward I get for any good deeds I get or anything else is from that happens right now, or any bad things or consequences from my bad deeds or or illegal deeds are all punished and right now instead of afterwards.
I guess that's a good point because it's that makes somebody who believes that have to say to themselves, well, this is my only chance here. I got to do it right now because I may not live forever.
Exactly.
Okay, interesting. Nice talking to you guys.
I appreciate it. You have a good day. And we have a bunch of callers here. I do appreciate y'all calling here. And let's go on down the line to Randy.
Well, hello, y'all. How y'all doing?
Excellent. Good morning.
Good morning to you, too. I'm a fellow producer, and I really appreciate the show. I'm just going to make a comment / question, and then I'll hang up and listen. I don't understand how so-called Christianity or Christians can come across people like atheists or whatever non-Christian belief and have so much hatred in their heart towards people who just happen to not believe in what they believe in. It seems like it's real contradictory of a Christian to have any hate in their heart simply because someone doesn't believe in what they believe. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to hang up. I've been watching the show, and I enjoy it. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. He brought up an excellent point there, and I wish I'd remember who the quote comes from. But man is no more willing to cut someone's throat to determine where they're actually going after their throat is cut. That's a paraphrase. Do you remember the quote?
No. Sounds interesting, though.
They're no quicker. I can't remember. But the whole deal is they're more willing to fight and kill somebody over what's going to happen to them after they're dead.
Yeah.
Then
now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yes, and he brought up an excellent point about there's quite a few religions out there, and like Jehovah's, right off the top of my head, where they actually have a set number of people that are going to heaven. And supposedly there in the Bible, 144,000 or something. I forget what. A friend of mine's a converted Jehovah's, and so that's where I'm getting my information from. So if I misquote the numbers, please, I apologize. But they have a finite number of people that are going to heaven, and there's like 6 million Jehovah's Witnesses. So that just blows me away. But we do appreciate you. Do you have a comment?
I was saying religion is so often I've seen religion gives people an excuse to be prejudiced or an excuse to dislike another kind, and when you have no belief, there's just no excuse for it. You have to look at things the way they are.
And personal responsibility is very important to the atheist, yeah. We don't have a hereafter that we make up to escape into after death. Anyway.
So let's move on down the line to Dan.
Yeah.
Good morning, Con.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear us?
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear us?
You don't hear me?
We hear
I
you.
hear you. Do you hear us?
Oh, okay. I can hear you.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you, you guys aren't rabid enough. These people are, they're just absolutely idiotic. It's the stupidest thing in the whole world. It's just beyond belief. It's incredible. You can sit there and, look, I'm glad you're smiling because I want to tell you, these people need to be attacked, not explained to. It's ridiculous. Anybody who's dumb enough, literally dumb enough to believe this crap. It's just, I don't even know what to tell you.
Easy.
I'm on your side. I just wanted to chime in and tell you it's the biggest load of crapola I've ever heard in my life. And they're all just afraid to die. They're just afraid of death. Big deal. Why don't you just live this one time you got and enjoy it, make the most of it. Yes. And all these people are just like, oh man. When I die, if I got to be with these people, I don't want to go there.
There you go.
And I want to tell you something else. There's all this junk about hell. Well, hell was originally a woman, the Scandinavian goddess of the underworld. Everybody, when they died, went to hell, unless you were a warrior. If you're a warrior, you went to Valhalla to be with Odin. And everybody else went to hell, and you didn't even have to stay there. Once in a while, you got to leave. But, it's just stories. They're just stories. That's all they are.
Yes.
And they're like children, afraid to die. And that's all I got to say.
Well, I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm thinking about to go to number one's been on the line longer.
Xavier?
Yeah. Thank you.
It's great to vent, by the way.
Feel free to vent. Yes. Yeah. But he did bring up an excellent point here. We're not trying to be confrontational. We try to remain open-minded. We're not out there trying to convert Christians to atheism. We're just trying to show you what the facts are, what the truth is
about atheists. Yes.
We're trying to show you that we are real people. That's why we're trying to get people from each week here we're trying to bring in new people from the group and show you who we are and everything else. But we're not out there trying to out there on the street corner there evangelizing atheism. But go ahead.
For me, I enjoy trying to understand religious points of views. I'm like recently I've been learning a lot about the Muslim religion. Just these things interest me. I don't care to be on a crusade or
Okay. We have a caller named Xavier. Good morning.
Hello.
Xavier.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Got us?
Hello.
Hello.
Can you?
Oh, okay.
Hello.
Gentlemen.
Texas.
You had mentioned earlier about a show that you had watched, kind of disproving Christianity in some certain ways. And I was just wondering, we get most of our ancient history from eyewitnesses and people that were there, because obviously we weren't there.
Sure.
And so the whole basis of that is that when you get so many eyewitnesses together, they write it down. And so you come to believe that stuff. And it's kind of the same thing with the Bible and a lot of the stuff that happened back then. I didn't see that show, but I was just wondering what kind of evidence they had to disprove that, because obviously most of these professors weren't there. And so how do you discount all these eyewitnesses that said they saw this and saw that?
Well, first off, the very first thing they start off with the show is they don't have any eyewitness accounts of Jesus. See, even the first thing, even the Gospel of Mark was written 70 years after Jesus died. So they have no actual written verification.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Like that information right there, how did they know that it was written
Good question.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. These are actual religious. I'm trying to remember what the actual credentials that these professors had. These are PhDs, archaeological evidence, through other historians like Josephus, others that were actual historians from that time can actually pinpoint when Mark lived and everything else. These are actual. They've gone through the history, all the written history that they could find through other historians, through the Roman historians. There's several historians that lived through that time, and through the archaeological evidence that we're now finding and everything else. That is where they're getting their evidence from. They never. The point I also want to make is they never once said that they were trying to disprove God. Everybody on there, I think, actually believed that Jesus Christ was, a real person, and that he did live, and that he was the Son of God. But it just blew me away that they could sit there and come up with all these contradictions, and then turn around and tell me that they can't prove when he was born, they can't prove when he died, they can't prove where he was born, but they're still going to say he's a real person. Well, we feel there's a lot of contention out there to prove that that Jesus Christ didn't even exist, that there wasn't even a real person called Jesus Christ. It's all myth.
That was a big problem with that show, is that they started at step 5, the hearsay about what Jesus might have done, but they didn't start at step 1 trying to prove that he existed at all.
So the show was never out to prove whether or not. But go ahead, Arlo.
I was saying, with history, we never know for sure. Like someone had mentioned, it was Columbus a fake. But one technique I like to use in trying to decide on maybe which history is true is at least history that doesn't defy the laws of physics.
Yes.
Like that. If you have 2 alternate paths and one is magical and the other is just much more reasonable, you got to take a guess. It's the best we can do.
Well, do you guys believe in the Big Bang Theory? That's not proven. We can't go everything off science because not everything's proven. And when you try to look at everything in a scientific point of way, there's always an alternate hypothesis. You can't really narrow it down to one. So I think when you try to
we all 3 have comments on that.
on this, when you try to base science on religion, they're just 2 different. The Bible is not a scientific book. There's no science. You're not going to find any science in the Bible. So it's just. Obviously, it's a spiritual thing, but I was just going to ask you guys, there have been times in my life where I felt like, I have nowhere to turn as far as another human being to help me out here, another human being to help me out there. So I find comfort in Christ and in what the Bible says. And I was just wondering, where did you guys turn to when you're in that situation? Or obviously we all are in that situation. Where do you guys turn to for that uplift when you don't have anywhere else to turn?
Actually, myself, each other,
friends, family.
It depends on what the problem is. Then to go do the research to find out what any answers I can But if it's my own personal crisis, I try to look at what brought me to this point in my life. And then try to avoid doing that again, but live from my own, learn from my own mistakes. But the idea of reaching up to some supernatural being that I can even prove exists and turn around and try to get answers from them is just totally.
It's pointless. Actually, I think atheists are do-it-yourselfers.
Good point.
First and foremost is that we don't need to look to an idea like a supernatural idea when there are friends and family. And if you don't have friends or family, well, rely on yourself, I guess. But work on it. There are ways. But going to an invisible deity is just not our answer.
Okay. We do have a bunch of callers here. I do appreciate your call.
Thank you.
You have a good day. Usually what we try to do about this point in time is our atheist unsung hero.
Yeah.
And I guess at this time we also say happy birthday to Madeline.
Yes, and Thomas Jefferson tomorrow, both.
Both of them are. Tomorrow's their birthday. Hopefully she's still alive out there somewhere.
So this is my unsung atheist hero or heroine of the week, and my pick for this week is Baron D. Holbach. Lived from 1723 to 1789. He was very outspoken in his writings, and perhaps for that reason he kept his name off of them. In an age when a young man was tortured and executed for failing to remove his hat when a religious procession passed, perhaps this was wisest. Baron de Holbach attended a Dutch university, then settled in France, writing hundreds of scientific articles for Diderot's Encyclopedia. He translated English works by Toland, Collins, and Woolston, being careful not to list his own name as translator. In this way, many English free-thought books found a French audience. De Holbach turned from translating free-thought books to writing them, using the names of deceased authors instead of his own. It was a wise choice, for one young man was placed in the pillory, branded, and then sentenced to 9 years on the galleys just for buying one of de Holbach's books. Imagine what would have happened to the author had it been learned that he was alive. During the time of the deists, de Holbach was an atheist. He envisioned a future in which the enlightened would rule and superstition would be forgotten. It was only after his death that he became known as the true author of his greatest works, including Christianity Unveiled, The Holy Disease, and The System of Nature. He is fondly known by historians of free thought as the father of militant atheism, and he died in 1789. We have a quote here. Quote, "Theology is but the ignorance of natural causes reduced to a system." That's Baron de Holbach.
Excellent.
My pick of Atheist Unsung Hero of the Week.
Do you have a comment?
Oh, well, I meant to say something about the Big Bang. A lot of people like to set that aside as a religion, and the difference with that is based, well, he had mentioned that there's no proof. Depends on how picky you want to be about proof. Is the expanding universe considered proof? Is the background radiation, the echo of the Big Bang, proof? It's all how picky you want to be. I mean, personally, I think there is proof. There's plenty of proof, and I don't want to say that's the way it is for sure. Maybe we could be mistaken, but there's not much room for anything else.
Right, and he brought up when someone from the theocratic right there uses the word theory or whatever, it means something totally different. And scientific, a theory is something that they can use to base other assumptions on and then continue on. So it's like the theory of relativity. It's still considered a theory, but it's been proven hundreds of times, and we're getting new instruments and new measurements and everything else that Einstein didn't even have it available at his time. They're now proving his theory, from 50 years ago. So when we discuss the theory of Big Bang, that is a starting point to make other assumptions, like you say, the expanding universe, and whether or not we have enough mass to either do the big crunch. There's still controversy over that. So, it's not saying it's the absolute answer, but it's our best answer with the information that we have today. That theory might change tomorrow if we get new information, but that's what's so good about science.
And they're always going to be doing tests. The scientists try to disprove their own theories, because by around the year 2000, we're going to be putting up a lot more telescopes in space. They're going to be able to see near 90% of the way back to the Big Bang, because the light you're seeing has traveled for so long, you're actually seeing back in time. We're seeing further and further, and that's going to bring up many new things that will probably support it.
Boy, it's been it's a great morning here. We've had callers waiting, so let's get to David here.
Hi, I've done a lot of traveling, met a lot of people, and I just have to say that some of the most Christian people I ever met were devout atheists.
Well, now, it depends on what you mean by Christian, though.
I love the humor there. That's good little humor there. Oh, we lost a line there.
Is Chris still on?
Nope. He's gone.
3.
Okay, so
Brian.
3.
Good morning.
Good morning, Brian.
Hello, I just wanted to ask you,
sure.
What was your basis for where the men come from in the beginning? Since you know that I don't believe in the Big Bang Theory. I am a Christian, but I don't knock what you're doing, because God gives everybody a free will to believe what they want, to choose. So I didn't want to impose nothing upon you that would be Archimedes. I just wanted to ask you what was your basis and where man came from, and have you ever read the Bible? And
yes.
And I wanted to give you a comment on about the 144,000. Also, I heard you just a while ago say it is talking about the Jewish people, the 12 tribes of Israel. That is what the 144,000. If you read in Revelation, but I'm not going there. I just wanted to ask you what was.
So, are you a Jehovah's Witness?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I know about the Jehovah's Witness because they have come by and tried to explain it like that to me also.
Yeah, so they're the ones that's using that number. It was not my number. And you're true. It does come from Revelations. But your other, I forgot your first question. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just asking you where man originated from. What do you think? I'm not asking you, scientifically. Just what do you think, and everybody on the panel, because I want to hear it.
It's going to get scientific.
Yeah, you'd have to get scientific to answer it. And I do believe. I'm convinced in the theory of evolution that we've evolved from millions of years involved us from a single cell organism up to the present day human beings that we now have on this earth. Does that answer your question?
Well, I thank you. Yeah, and I'm finished.
Okay. Have a good day. Any other comments on that?
Science is the best judge. I think science is the best method for finding out these deep questions and answers, and not religion. And right now, evolution happens to be the number one theory in science as far as that goes. So,
okay, this is the Atheist Experience. It's April 12th, live. I guess Easter Sunday. We'll go ahead and mention that. I haven't mentioned the fact that it was Easter Sunday.
Didn't need to, but
we actually did our blood drive yesterday. Yeah. And you want to show your shirt?
Yeah, I got a T-shirt, and the backside is what's cool is the
yes.
Oh, and the hair came with it.
Yes.
I'm Texas Blue, but instead of glorifying the spilling of blood needlessly, I went out and gave some that could be used again.
Yeah, we're sharing our atheist blood with the whole community. So who knows? Maybe some Christians out there end up with some atheist blood there. Okay, let's go on down the line to JJ. Good morning.
Hi. I've got like a whole collage of stuff that I would like to discuss with y'all today.
Well, quickly.
First of all, my main question is, I need to find out if y'all believe in the soul.
No.
God and religion aside, do you believe in a human being containing a soul? And are you familiar with the soul substance studies from the 20s?
You can't really define the soul in very cognitive terms, so it's really hard to say whether we can accept that. But as far as a supernatural, ethereal life force within a human body that survives after a human body dies, no.
The soul substance, what is that, carbon?
Yeah, that's a good question. He's asking the caller there. What is, you brought up some studies, what is the soul substance?
Okay, in the 20s, there was an actual study done on a doctor conducted a series of tests on bodies human bodies as they died at the instant of death.
I did read that. Yes.
Okay, and there was a 3/4 of an ounce weight loss at he calculated like air compression in the lungs, air weight in the lungs, and everything calculated out, and sure enough, every human being at the moment of death loses 3/4 of an ounce.
No, that study has never been able to be duplicated, and my information is I can't remember the doctor who did that actual study, but his studies have never been duplicated. So
I've talked to a couple of Christians about that study, and what I wanted to say first off is that a loss in weight would infer that it contained mass. The soul is mass and has matter to it, and if it has matter, then it surely can be detected in other ways. We can detect things that do not take a...
What about when you dream?
What's that?
What about when you dream?
Dream?
Yeah, you have to be alive to do that, and it takes place within the confines of your cranium, and we have no evidence that anything other than that is taking place.
It's an electrochemical stimulation in your brain cells.
It's detectable.
Well, first of all, getting back to I was listening to you all talk, and I had gained a few other questions or comments along the way. The Big Bang theory.
Sure.
I've always had the biggest problem with that as a scientific explanation, because to me it's like throwing a bunch of pieces of a watch across the room and they all land together and start clicking right on time, right in the same second. It's just, to me, that takes a lot more faith than to just simply believe in a creator. And when I go outside, I get with that creation, or when I see a beautiful woman or whatever, I know there's a God. Now, I separate myself from religion. If I believe in a God, I therefore believe in Satan. I believe in an evil force that exists. And I think too many Christians try to run around
Well, let me back up to what you're saying there about if you go out and see the beautiful sunset or this beautiful woman, you know there's God. What that's saying is you feel that you're so vain that you feel that electrical stimulation that you're feeling there was so unique and so valuable that some creator put that all out there just so you could feel that electrical stimulation.
Well, I think it also says that I think it also says that you feel that everything in the universe is perfect, like the watch.
No.
By definition, that works.
That's why there is an equal evil force. We are the imperfection. I mean, we as human beings, we're so imperfect that we've made this planet almost impossible to operate on a natural basis. We're constantly we're pumping out greenhouse gases in such that. I don't even want to get in.
Where's the perfection in that, though?
But basically, this is where I was getting at with the God-Saint. With the God-Satan discussion. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing you guys because I lost you on the phone here, and my TV's down really low, so I can't hear what you're saying very good.
Well, go ahead. Quickly.
But,
I'll tell you what, while you're getting your thoughts, Arlo had a point on something you said earlier, so let Arlo make a point, please.
People always compare life to a watch or a car engine. I always see this on Christian TV. They say if you see something as advanced as a car engine, it must have been made. The difference between a machine and life is a machine like a watch or a car engine doesn't have the potential to create itself. It does not reproduce. It does not have genes. Humans have all the workings that set forth evolution, and that's the difference.
Right. Okay. We can monitor that change, and we can see evolution at work.
See, and to me, that's more that. Well, first of all, every missing link theory has always been disproven. There's never has there been a scientist come up with proof that there was a Java Man was a hoax. And on and on. That's only one.
That the idea of a missing link only shows that your inaccurate interpretation of evolution. There's no creature out there that's half man, half ape. We evolved. We're going out through different branches here, so there is a common ancestor that for all the primates have a common ancestor for the whole entire genus of primates. And so we don't have one. We don't come along and all of a sudden have a half man, half ape there or whatever else. That's just
somewhere along the line there would have been a transition.
No,
it happens so gradually, though. I mean, if you're looking for one transitional stage, you're never going to find it because we're talking about millions of years. We're talking about hundreds of millions of specimens living and dying, and you're looking for one particular one that can show you blatantly a blatant change, and it's
your
just not
scientific proof is what you're looking for. Right. That's exactly my point.
No.
That requires what you're saying. For you to believe what you believe, that requires faith.
No, let's assume your assumption is right. There's transitional forms in between there or whatever. So you got form A and you got form B, and you're saying that there's a transitional form for each and every step going in between there. Well, if I found each and every step that went in between there, you'd say no. There's a step.
There's another one.
There's another one. Yeah. I have to go find that one. It's just like going from 0 to 1. There's an infinite number of fractions that can go between 0 and 1.
It's not infinite, though, with evolution, because you can actually potentially you can find each and every living being in that chain over millions of years, and that still won't be enough. To the creationists, they will still want to find the one in between, and since you can't produce one in between because there was none in between, they're going to be calling that the missing link problem with evolution.
My personal belief system actually lies with theistic evolution. I am a believer in evolution. I believe that God has allowed evolution to take place, and that's part of His creation.
You're starting with a presumption, though, about God.
Yeah, exactly. It's faith. This is all faith. This is what I feel like God speaks to me, and this maintains what I believe. Just like everybody has a spiritual struggle, including the panel up here. You all three of you have given great thought into this, and Basically, if you look at it like I was getting at earlier, if you look at God and Satan as two separate entities, God being the almighty creator of the universe and Satan included, and if you look at religion, I plot religion as a tool of Satan, because religion does nothing but divide human beings, and it makes people say, well, I believe this, and since you don't believe this, then I'm afraid you're going to have to, you're a bad kid, so you're going to have to go stand your nose in the corner for eternity. That's preposterous.
The same thing came from God. I mean, in fact, most of the Bible talks about how God gives that same threat only more than the devil ever does. Where in the Bible is the devil quoted as saying that? It's all God. God will condemn you, period, in the Bible.
But the God that I worship and that we all really truly worship, even Buddhists, Christians, it doesn't matter. That everybody is worshiping a God.
That's a bold statement, caller. Because I don't think you get the Buddhists to agree with you that they're.
No, they don't. They don't agree with me. But that's okay with me, because as long as I know that they're making a spiritual connection, then I'm God tells me that they're okay. They're His children, because they have that desire to.
You're not reading the Bible clearly. Then the Bible clearly states if you do not believe in that one particular God, Buddhists included, they're going straight to hell. Read the Bible.
That is indeed what the Judeo-Christian Bible says. However, after, just like with human evolution, with years and years of translation and in doctrine and dogma, I'm a preacher's kid myself. I grew up with Judeo-Christian beliefs, driven up one side and down the other. And the way I've arrived at my belief system today is by backing up and looking at the big picture and seeing what everybody's really, what's the objective, what is everybody trying to do, and they're trying to make a spiritual connection. And to me, that is something that each and every human being has a drive to want to accomplish, and that's making that spiritual connection. It has nothing to do with, if you smoke and drink, you're going to go to hell. Not all of the even like Jesus when in the Bible, when he was explaining to all of his peers that, look, the old law is it's silly. It's a bunch of silly acts that are unnecessary.
So is the new one.
Well, I do appreciate your call here, caller. Excuse me. We have a bunch of others backing up here, and we only got like 11 minutes left on the show. So I'm going to let you go. But please listen.
Call us next week, too.
Because the point I want to make is he's not. The whole idea behind religion is just a vain idea that man is so much better, that this whole universe was created just so man could enjoy that beautiful sunset or that beautiful woman or whatever. That just shows the vanity of religion, and it just blows me away that they think that there's some special, that human beings are so special. Our contention is we're just one other species on this planet. That's my contention or whatever, and that we need to work within this system that right here on Earth and be part of it and not be above it. But anyway, I'm rattling on. We got 3 other callers here. Xavier?
Hello?
Did you call once?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, quickly. I got other callers. Make it quick, please.
All right, I was just going to ask, say there is a heaven, say there isn't.
Sure.
What do you have to lose to believe in it? Because if there isn't one, then we have nothing to gain, right? We all rot in the dirt. But if there is, why not believe in something to prepare yourself for everlasting life? What do you have to lose?
Pascal's wager. Yeah.
Thank you. What the deal is on that, as long as whatever you do on the privacy of your home is your business. If you want to sit there and pray to a crucifix or whatever else every Sunday, it's your business. We just don't want. Our deal is we don't want religion and government. We're trying to maintain separation of church and state, and with the Religious Freedom Amendment and everything else that's going on right now, we have God on our money. God was never intended to be in the Constitution. They argued over that 200 years ago and decided not to have God in the Constitution. God does not belong in the Constitution. He does not belong in the state government, city government, federal government. That's our contention. What you do at home, you're absolutely right. If you want to believe there's a heaven and you want to do that in your home, that's fine with you. But we should have the same rights too. Let's go on down the line to David. Good morning.
Hi. I think people forget religion is a generic term for how you live. And there's really only one religion, and your membership button is your belly button.
I like that.
Okay, everybody wants to define God.
Yes.
Especially the church. People forget that God is infinite. That means without definition.
Well, that's
so
not
was the
sensical.
Church trying to define God all the time.
There's no sense in that.
You know, in the beginning, there was no division in the kingdom. It wasn't good and evil. If you got away from the tiger, it was a good day for you. If the tiger got you, it was a good day for the tiger. Either way, it was a good day for God.
Aren't you defining God?
You got to take care.
Infinite?
Okay, and
let's have some atheist call, man.
Okay,
you're out there. We know.
We are live, April 12th. We'll be back next Sunday, 9 a.m., 10 p.m., channel 16. And excuse me, we have another caller here. We're going right down the line here. We're running out of time. Smiley.
Hello.
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 Make it quick, please.
I'm having, since you switched this now, I'm having a very difficult time hearing you.
I'm sorry about that.
I will try to turn it up enough here that I can hear you. I have had an out-of-body experience.
How can you prove that?
Meaning that I saw my body fall when I was above my body, and actually saw it fall to the ground.
Then
all of a sudden I was back in it.
I'm not denying that experience seemed real to you or whatever else, but that they can reproduce that same experience in the laboratory. That's just your interpretation of electrochemical stimulation to your brain.
Well, I wouldn't classify it as electrochemical stimulation in particular, because I was very young when it happened, and that was before I knew anything about religion or particularly about God. There is also two places that I can tell you of in the Bible where it says that there is a natural man, and without the Spirit of God dwelling in that man, then things of God are foolishness to the man. Without the Spirit of God, it is foolishness for the man, and he cannot understand the things of God because it is spiritually discerned.
I think that clearly defines God as foolish. Anybody who thinks about it long enough and does not get religion in that way, the way it means there, I think what it's saying is that the intellectual or the person who does not buy that is not bought, is not suckered into it. Now, there are a whole lot of God ideas to be suckered into, and no offense to those who get that way, but the person who doubts should not be called foolish just because they doubt, especially a story that's extremely outlandish like that.
Okay. Go ahead, Arlo. I'm sorry.
Just saying, when I was younger, I used to make myself believe all kinds of things all the time. It is possible to make yourself believe things.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm running out of time, caller. I do appreciate your call. Have a good day. 2. Mike?
How you doing?
Real good.
You guys, I really just want to let you know again how much I appreciate the show and really agree with everything you're saying over there, especially on such a fine Easter morning. But I kind of, you ever heard of Ken's Guide to the Bible?
Ken's?
Oh, yes.
Ken Smith?
Yes, I looked through that.
Yeah, well, I'm reading it right now, and I think there's just really some great points in there. And because of that, I've been looking in the Bible a little more often. And, I've always thought it's really just a silly book anyway, but, I just kind of points out the silly as far as... Anyway, I don't have anything insightful to say. I just want to let you know I enjoyed the show. And
well, great.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks.
You have a good day.
Bye.
And caller?
Hello?
Hello. Renae?
All right, a female.
I was just wondering what your explanation is, of why we have a conscience and why would you practice any real self-constraint besides what the law or, if there's really not a God, or why wouldn't you just do whatever you wanted anytime or whatever?
Yeah, that's a good question. We get that question a lot. My own personal feelings on that or whatever is as a group, we should be trying to maintain our existence and better our existence. And if we use that criteria to advance the human condition, then you'll end up you don't have to think of right or wrong or anything else. Is this going to contribute to the society? And if it doesn't, then we shouldn't be doing it. If you're a detriment to society, we need to be locking you up or getting you off this planet or whatever else that we need to be doing.
I think if you look back in history, you show that morality exists despite religion. So many horrible things have been done in the name of religion. It's just foolish to say that there has to be morality or there has to be a God in order for there to be morality. So,
and Arlo, you have a point?
Well, your first comment on where does the consciousness come from when you think of any other animals that don't have an awareness of themselves? They have to physically adapt to their environments. Now, large-brained creatures like people, apes, even dogs and cats, they can adapt mentally to things. It doesn't take an expensive amount of time, and that helps survival and reproduction.
Very good.
Any other comments here? Because I don't think we're going to have enough time to get to Jeff and Anthony here because we're running out of time. So go ahead, Renae. Anything else you'd like to say?
Well, I guess I should have been a little more specific. Like, what is the voice that tells you, like, to help that person across the street? Like, not conscious, but conscience.
Your upbringing, I would think. If you were raised that way by your parents and peers.
But I guess, I mean, on a more personal level, if you don't feel there's any repercussions or...
No. We do. We know there are repercussions.
No, I mean, I know there's laws, but how do you explain where the voice comes from that tells you...
It's not really a voice. In my situation, like I say, we volunteer to help others and give blood, like they had the blood drive and all that, because we like the human race. We think the human race is, a good thing, and it does a lot of good things. So, it's our contribution to the whole society as a whole, and so... does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. I just wish you'd keep the door open there.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
You have a good day. Like I said, I do apologize to Jeff and Anthony. We didn't get to this is Atheist Community of Austin. We meet every Sunday at the Hot Jumbo Bakery down at 5th and Lavaca. It's free and open to the public.
10:30 a.m.
10:30 a.m. This is the Atheist Experience. We'll be back next Sunday, 9 a.m., channel 16, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Again, I apologize to Jeff and Anthony who were on hold. We didn't get to you. Feel free to call back next week. And do have an interesting article that we'll finish here real quick with here. That has to do with Crown Springs, Montana. Yeah, go right ahead. The bomb shelters were built, the food and clothing were gathered, and the weapons were stockpiled, and the fuel was stored. But Armageddon never came. Elizabeth Clare Prophet, spiritual leader of the Church of Universal and Triumph, had warned back in 1980s that a nuclear holocaust was coming. But when March 1990 slipped by without the prophesied disaster